adore Winston Churchill. He's persistent, he never give up, and his good fighting spirit. Constant changing, constant innovation is a key to every business. Although Hong Kong property is very expensive, I don't see how it would drop. But I don't think it would rocket up. I think Malaysia in the long run is good. I think in short run, Malaysia property will be really tough. Our neighbor, Greater Bay, that's a great opportunity.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching the Success Secrets of Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, Hong Kong and Macau. I'm Daphne Duan, the program host. Our guest of today's episode is Tansery Dato David Chiu. Very nice to meet you here.
Well, nice to see you. Thank you.
Mr. Chiu is a very successful businessman. He is a founder and chairman of Malaysian Land Properties and also the chairman and CEO of Far East Consortium International and Dorset Hospitality International. He is also the chairman of iCable Communications Limited. Mr. Chiu has over 45 experience in property and hotel development business. He also owns and operates successful listed companies in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Japan, Singapore, UK, and many other places. Mr. Chiu, I've prepared a set of questions for you and appreciate you could share with us your management experience, philosophy, and also your insights on property markets as well.
Thank you.
So my first question is, as a successful business leader, how did you manage different sectors, including the properties and also entertainment and media as well? What's your success crystal ball?
Thank you. I think at my age today, I guess I must learn to delegate, because my business operated in over 10 countries. It's not possible that I sort of visit them, especially now with COVID, on a day-to-day basis. I guess every different countries and different operation, we have good people. And although people think that we have many business, but actually I'm very focused. Our core business are really property development, hotel entertainment, and car park operation.
Yeah. When you look back your leadership journey, what kind of things can you share with us, a very special person or your personal story that has inspired your career and your leadership journey?
Well, first, let me answer the person. I think in my journey as a businessman, like any other human person, that I guess I adore my father. My father, Mr. Deacon Chiu, gave me a lot of good influence. He have taught me many things in my life. And during my young age, I make mistake. He always bear with me. He encouraged me. He give me confidence and make me stronger and better, every moment of my life, whether it's success or failure. So I think my father was basically my greatest, leadership that inspired me, But from the outside people, other than my father, I guess there is a famous person called Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of England. I also adore him as a person, but the key factor I adore Winston Churchill is his persistent, he never give up, and his good fighting spirit.
So in this circumstance, like what kind of factors and qualities, personalities a successful person should have?
I think the key thing is never give up. When you have trouble as long as I have in my age, I've been in business for over 40 years, there's bound to be some success and there must be some failure. And I think every businessman should never learn to give up and also should learn from the mistake. We're bound to make mistake and do not be discouraged by the mistake one have made. And we learn from it and we will gain strength from mistake,
And what is your very proudest achievement in your business journey? Can you share with us?
Well, I guess, it's related to MAYCHAM, it's related to Malaysia. I'm glad you interviewed me, give me this opportunity to speak my journey. My father has been quite a wealthy and successful businessman of his own accord in Hong Kong. And living in Hong Kong, no matter what I do, I always have under the shadow of my father. So 30 years ago, I chose a country called Malaysia, which I went down to Malaysia with my wife, my dear wife, who also helped me in my journey, because my father did not have any business or any influence in Malaysia. So, actually, because I got a few titles from Malaysia, a lot of people think I'm Malaysian, but actually I'm very honored. I'm actually from Hong Kong from day one. And I went to Malaysia about close to 30 years ago with my wife. And I guess one of my proudest achievements is not monetary terms, is I went to Malaysia. I don't want to have the shadow of my parents. It's like every wealthy man's kids like me. We want our own respect. So I went down to Malaysia. Frankly, not with too much money. When I went down to Malaysia 20, 30 years ago, it's not without money, but I think if I recall correctly, I think I brought along maybe 20, 30 million ringgit. That's how I started,
You borrowed?
I bought the capital, about 30 million ringgit into Malaysia. I started my business, and I founded Mainland, which is one of the largest private developer in your country. And I'm also became, the chairman of Dorset Malaysia, which is Dorset Malaysia actually owns 13 hotels in your country, close to 4,000 rooms. If I'm not wrong, Dorset is now maybe the biggest hotel company in your country, and thirdly, also I'm a major shareholder of CCM, which is it was the old Dunlop, very respected company in Malaysia. I was the second largest shareholder. And I'm also today the largest shareholder of Land and General, which at one time was the biggest developer in your country. So today in Malaysia alone, I employ in hotel and different sector, I employ close to 3,000 people. So I'm very proud, of what I have achieved. Not necessarily in terms of profit. Unfortunately, Malaysian economy was quite slow in the last few years. In terms of total profit contribution to my group, Malaysia account for today about 10% of my total revenue and profit. But the fact that we have employed 3,000 people, from our own, from a very humble beginning, I'm very proud. Yeah.
How did you start your business in Malaysia? Why did you choose Malaysia as a starting point?
I guess I went down 30 years ago when Malaysia, at that moment of time, the market was quite weak. So I started buying land in one location called Sri Hartamas, which I thought, as a developer, following my father in my young age, it was obviously a good location. It was halfway between the airport to the city. Transportation infrastructure was quite mature. The natural environment was beautiful. So I started buying a lot of land around Sri Hartamas, which is now today one of the, Mount Kira Hartamas is one of the most popular residential area in Malaysia. And of course, one of my proudest amongst many, many projects. Today, I have over 35 projects in Malaysia, in different cities. But one of my proudest development is a place called Plaza Dabas. It makes shop house, which is a very Malaysian product, shopping center, and also there's hotel service apartment. Today, that project, after so many years, is completed with over 6 million square feet. And that's actually it's also built by Mainland, and I think that's one of the most successful projects I have done in Malaysia.
As a successful person, what's your advice to the younger generation leaders?
I guess I go to university, sometimes I talk, or different school I talk. I always give the same opinion and the same tune to all the young people. At the first 5 years of your career, you must not care so much about how much salary. You must care about what is your interest. I think you must find what you can learn, and what you are passionate with. And one thing I learned, if you like your job and if you enjoy what you do, you actually never feel tired. If you don't like what you do, in the first 5 years, it's still early age, change your job. Look for different opportunity, because finding your own interest, it will be a foundation of your future success. And let me give you one simple advice. If every day you wake up, you don't look forward to go back to your office, I think you should change job. That's a fundamental, simple situation I analyze. Secondly, I guess for long-term success for every young man is, as I have said, you got to have the good fighting spirit. You never give up. You keep trying. And another way I also look at it, as I have all my experience working after 40 years, I learned, sometimes EQ is more important than IQ.
Yeah. Eventually, you are going to deal with people in terms of management.
Well, people is the most important thing in no matter what you do today. In the old days, capital was difficult to find, but today their fund manager, their capital markets, their IPO, their banks, financial institution, capital today are more easily and readily, especially in low interest environment. But finding the right people to do the job is very difficult. It's very challenging.
You were talking about young people, they should have passion on what they do. But what was your passion?
Well, I think one of the things about me is ever since I was young, educated by my father, I always think there are good capitalists and bad capitalists, because Hong Kong is next to China, I always think that a good capitalist, for me, is providing hopefully new product. But I'm not sure I'm up to that level. I will try. But I guess one thing I have done, that since I took over my sort of partly my father's business, partly my own business, when I first started, the company that relate to me worldwide employ about 800 people. Today, at my age, worldwide, I employ 8,000 people, and also I operated in 11 countries. And in those days, when I was younger, we were operating, already we had overseas investment, my family, in 3 countries. Today we have 11, So I think that I think I'm proud, I'm happy to create employment, create, stable income for people who is working within my family.
In terms of challenging, what kind of challenges are facing the business leaders currently?
Well, obviously, COVID-19 is something that we have not seen before. Okay, the fact is the economy have really, in proportionally strength. All the nations in the world, whether it's America and others, Europe, England, France, all have to start printing money, creating wealth. It's obviously a tough time. People can't go out, people can't travel, many things can't do the normal things that we used to do today. But there's an old Chinese saying, when every time there is crisis, there are moment of opportunity. 我们中国叫危機，危機,
Right.
So I guess, there's always opportunity for us as a property developers. On our recent launching in England, people are now asking for study rooms, very high Wi-Fi, because people stay at home a lot more often than before. So people are now asking for bigger homes in terms of area, although they don't mind to travel a little bit longer, So because the land will be cheaper when it's more further away from the city center, but they want bigger size unit because people stay at home longer. So, every moment of life of changes like COVID-19, it create opportunity. It create things that we must discover, So I guess every business needs innovation, no matter what you do. So for us, a hotel today, people will, I guess, will stay longer. People will travel less often. But today now people want microwave, they want to cook. People who used to go to country used to stay 2 days. Now they stay 10 days. So, but life will eventually adjust and go on.
Be very conscious about the changes and to face it.
I think every business needs the simple, boring word, innovation. Constant changing, constant innovation is a key to every business.
But in terms of a high level, how do you deal with these changes and challenges? What's your strategy?
Well, I guess...
In terms of business level and also management level?
I guess business, I can't change so quickly. I have to adjust. For example, property development. I can't say it doesn't work. I go to shipping tomorrow. It can't happen like that. But I have to adjust my property situation. For example, Hong Kong, where houses are very expensive, people now try to get bigger homes because of COVID-19. But because Hong Kong transportation is good, people is now prepared to live in Yuen Long, more far away, Malaysia, again, people are looking for bigger home, but Malaysia economy, unfortunately, is not doing so well. So the upmarket situation, Malaysia property is very weak. But the mass market is actually quite strong. So you have to adjust yourself. Hotel, another business we are in today, frankly, we have to improve our technology. Cleaning, a lot more automation machines. Check-in are less people. So, when I said, with the COVID-19, you have to adjust your business model according to the new situation. But you can't change industry tomorrow.
Right. So in terms of your views on the property market, like in Hong Kong and Malaysia, what's your view on that, on the trend?
Well, first, let's talk about Hong Kong because, I love Malaysia, but I'm stuck in Hong Kong for 2 years. I used to go to Malaysia very often. Let's answer Hong Kong first. Hong Kong property market is all-time high. We are doing very well. The margins are higher than expectation. But Hong Kong property price will eventually chase one traditional problem. The old Western people say, you price yourself out of market. What I say in Hong Kong, what you mean by price yourself out of market is keep going up. People can't afford it anymore. And when people can't afford it anymore, they may change to rent the property. Maybe they change the lifestyle, like Japan in the 80s. Hong Kong there is a thing called painful index, international property. Hong Kong is the most painful place in the world. 痛苦指數 is the most painful place in the world to buy 1 square feet of property. Hong Kong, 1 square foot of property for average couple is 22 years of saving. If you don't eat, don't drink, don't anything, put all the money in the property, you end up with a property. 22 years. Average country painful index is about 10 to 12 years. So Hong Kong is really very, very expensive, which is the danger of our industry. But the good news for Hong Kong is money is cheap. We are pegged with US dollars, so there are plenty of money being printed by America, so creating indirect devaluations of our true value of dollar. That's number 2. And thirdly, I think Hong Kong have always been the gateway of China. The recent records that the expensive units are all bought from very rich people from China. They keep coming and paying record price for property. So, although Hong Kong property is very expensive, but I just don't see it would collapse tomorrow. The gearing ratio, the borrowing ratio of the people in Hong Kong and also of the major developer are very low. So all our balance sheet are very healthy. I don't see how it would drop. But I don't think it would rocket up. As for Malaysia, I think it is challenging. Malaysia is not easy. In the last 2 years, our business in Malaysia have really hurt. I think all Other developer like me in Malaysia also feel the pain.
Due to the pandemic.
Okay, the selling is slow in many different areas, especially office is oversupply. Hotel is in problem. Because yeah. So, but however, what we find in Malaysia, the little hope area is the mass housing. Because the local population in Malaysia compared to the rest of Asia like Hong Kong, Singapore, the population growth is still a healthy 2 or 3%. But compared to a lot of countries, negative growth, even China. So I think Malaysia, in the long run, is good. I think in short run, Malaysia property will be really tough.
But in terms of Hong Kong, you are still positive about the trend. Yeah. It won't be very fast growth.
It won't be fast growth, but I just don't see how property price would drop though.
You have business worldwide, but talking about like GBA, like mainland China, do you have any strategy and plans there?
You mean China?
Yeah.
Well, China is a very challenging market. The Chinese people, me from Hong Kong, I was born in Hong Kong. The overseas Chinese, I remember when I was a young kid, one of the most successful Indonesian business tycoon taught me. He said, he has a joke, when China can mature, we will face severe competition. And that was 40 years ago when China was quite backward. And I said, why? Because he said the best brain of the Chinese are still in China. So there are a lot of good people. And it's after 40 years later, he's proven he's right. Look at the remarkable achievement China have done, which is amazing. It's eye-boggling. And the greatest thing for a Chinese businessman like me, I'm so proud of my businessmen in China, is this time round, the Chinese have commercialized. What I mean by commercialize is, we created, 很多年前, we Chinese create firework. 我们发明火药, 我的发明. But the firepower was commercialized and utilized by the Western people to make guns, power, whatever. So they create the added thereafter value. Okay, that create the commercial platform or the utilization. Chinese invented it, we didn't bring it to the stage 2. But today, what I'm very happy with successful company like the younger company like Tencent, Alibaba, etc., many coming, is that they have applied technologies into very commercialized and practical level. That to me, the new Chinese tycoon, I'm at my 60. When I say the new Chinese tycoon, they are typically at their 40s, they're 20 years younger than me, have really very innovative and they're very commercialized. And of course, they're also lucky. China have 1.4 billion market for them to research and for them to create further platform to make their business bigger.
Yeah. So under this competitive situation, where do you see the business opportunities? Especially
I think next 10 years, I'm so proud, I'm so fortunate. The opportunity and the platform will be in China. And Hong Kong, we are very lucky, because we have, we call it, I don't know what's it called in English, is Taiwan, Greater Bay Area, right? I mean, Greater Bay Area alone is 70 million people. That's 70, 80 combined with Hong Kong. That market is bigger than France, bigger than England, bigger than 90% of the country in the world. So not to look at China at 1.4 billion, even just Hong Kong, our neighbor, Greater Bay, which our leader is saying, that's a great opportunity, great opportunity. And also one row, one bell, one bell, one row. That's another opportunity for Hong Kong businessmen to create the platform to link between Hong Kong and all those Belt and Road countries, which are plenty. A lot of them are successful countries. A lot of them are very young countries, which they need a lot of product. They need a lot of infrastructure, which we can create.
And what do you think about Hong Kong's role as international financial center? in this situation like this?
I think Hong Kong Financial Center cannot be replaced anywhere in China. Hainan, Shanghai, Shenzhen cannot. Because not only we have the best talented people in Hong Kong, which have over 50 years of maturity, but we also have common law. The international language of IPO, money financing, fund manager are common law. Whereas in China, it's not common law. So I don't think it's that easy to replace Hong Kong.
System is unique.
I think we have a long way to go.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
We learned
Thank
a
you.
lot. And
Thank
thanks
you.
to our audience spending time with us. See you in our next episode. Take care.
Thank you.